Hello there folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel, a place where I discuss on different topics like spirituality, deeper introspection, game analysis, dream analysis, and well, if offered, I can help, I actually volunteer to help game designers and people who are working towards their video games to, you know, be provided with some constructive feedback, but mainly this channel will be about my sharing wisdom and well things that I have learned through my experiences from other sources, and also reminding people not to take whatever I say for granted because someone's truth may not necessarily apply to everyone. So today's video I will discuss about responsibilities, habits, and the aspect of conscious existence. Okay. Now, responsibility is something that many people have, kind of a fuzzy idea around. Okay. And what I feel is that present day society definitely suffers the most because of a lack of responsibility. Now, in the Western societies, especially, people have become more and more ignorant. Even if one may say that some of the best schooling systems in the world might be in certain countries of Europe, and well, I don't know about the USA, but there are some countries, especially the northern ones, that have a very great so-called education system. Now, education stems from a Latin word. If I remember correctly, it's educario, which means to bring out of ignorance. And bringing out of ignorance means making people fully realize what they are, okay? Becoming conscious of themselves, their surrounding, and therefore the point of, simply living life in a very responsible way, because to a certain event, okay, to like more or less, okay, everyone needs to understand one simple single point, okay. Responsibility is basically the gateway towards one's happiness, okay. Now, responsibility nowadays, just like the truth, they are two major aspects, okay, that people are running away from. And well, it's also the reason why uh, society is the way it is, okay. So many people prefer living the comfortable way of the subconscious existence, and therefore they are not assuming anything in their life. So if people live life to, like, they like circumstances to dictate what happens in their life, well, that is definitely not a good thing, because, well, we end up with kind of a problem. Now, what could this problem be? Well, this problem is that if people allow circumstances to guide them, okay, to actually dictate their existence, they might end up in a lot, and literally a lot, of unfavorable situations and positions. Now, why do I say this is very simple, okay? This set of unfavorable situations is, well, nothing else than, them lacking the necessary self-love, okay, because responsibility comes from awareness, okay, it comes from being knowledgeable that you have to exist in communion with this universe, okay. Now, what does this responsibility actually truly mean, okay, and fully mean? Well, responsibility, if you break it into pieces, you get responsibility, okay? You have two words that are put into one single word. One has to understand that English is a kind of, let's actually call it an occult language, whose words have been designed in a certain way to have certain influences, and in many situations people may simply not realize that. But what responsibility is basically the ability to respond to situations in the right way. Okay, now responsibility doesn't mean you will always respond correctly, but the point is it's taking back your power and answering situations that come into your life in a conscious way, okay, not unconscious. Now, what does an unconscious way of responding mean? Well, usually an unconscious way means habits, okay, and also living in the past or the future, okay. Now, the present time is, you know, the present time is simply inevitable. Whatever way people want to take it, the present time is the only time in which you're basically truly existing. Why am I saying this? Is very simple. Because you can only exist in the present, okay, and that's where your responsibility exists. Now, many people prefer living in the past because they haven't been taught how to take care of their wounds, their traumas, uh, to a certain extent, even past life experiences, which will take a toll on everyone's existence because the subconscious mind controls around 90%, in some people's cases even more, of their existence. And so the problem is people don't know how to control their mind, people don't know how to control their emotions. Having these two as, problematic experience in life, your whole existence will also be a problematic experience because not controlling each and every one of your main dimensions of life, well, it means your life will be very chaotic. Responsibility is based on knowing how to not necessarily control, but how to manage healthily your mental dimension, your psychological dimension, your energy, as well as, well, let's also say your spirituality, okay? Um, and of course, well, emotions, mainly emotions, okay? The mind, the emotions, the psyche, and of course your energy, okay? One way to actually take care of these is to become more responsible on what you are feeding yourself with. Now, feeding yourself with is something that happens multidimensionally, okay? It's not just what you put into your mouth as, in terms of food. Now, what you put into your mouth in terms of food is only a small part of what you're feeding your body with, okay? The vibrations of everything around you, okay, that they are bombarding you, it's still a way of feeding you, okay. It will impact most or some of your dimensional bodies as well, and it will also impact you in a certain way, okay. If you are standing surrounded by machines, for example, they vibrate at a certain frequency, and they also have an aura of themselves, an electromagnetic field, which will actually overlap with yours, and it can actually bolster certain uh, lower aspects of yourself, okay. Through what I've tried, let's say, with viewing auras, it seems machines have a color which is similar to a uh, mustard yellow, something like that, and it could be. I'm saying it could be because I've seen this aura as a general aspect, but um, I can't simply fully correlate these, so take this with a grain of salt. They seem to vibrate at the frequency of your um, manipura, but an unbalanced manipura, which means control, okay, control and um, well, manipulation, not trusting others, okay, and worse than that, not trusting yourself, okay. When people live in these series of grudges, okay, and hatred towards others, okay, this is nothing else than a response to things that have been into your past but you haven't made peace with, okay. These are things from your past that you're allowing yourself to still suffer from, mainly because you haven't been trained on how to use your mind, your psyche, your emotions, okay? And responsibility means how you react to things, well, how you allow yourself to react to things, but in a conscious way, okay? Many people simply keep suffering because someone said this, someone said that, someone said everything. These are all little points of nuisance for everyone, which become bigger and bigger because people simply refuse to um, take up the responsibility, okay, to simply um, understand that whatever happens to them happens for different reasons. When someone curses at you, when someone abuses you, everything is related to themselves. They are feeling bad and they are doing whatever they can to a certain extent to draw attention that they are simply affected by different things. To a certain extent, people need some of these traumas in order to become capable of experiencing different things in real life, okay, and becoming capable of, mm, well, manifesting some of their dreams if they so wish. But the point of the mind, for example, and where responsibility should stem from, is that let's say the mind has a set of capabilities. Okay, now one of these capability is the idea to learn about things. Okay, and once it learns about things, it puts them into a library of events and memories, of which it will furthermore improve those links so that the reaction times get faster. Okay, and when a certain situation happens, a certain sound is heard again, a certain thing is seen again, okay, that database is simply accessed and one can end up reacting better and better, okay, or faster and faster, or mainly faster and faster. Okay, so a first ability of the mind would be cognizance. Okay, now cognizance means whatever you see that is unknown to yourself, okay, gets put into that library of sounds, visuals, and whatever. That is why, for example, when you hear a certain sound and you're not sure, your mind is simply busy seeking any possible sound you may have heard consciously or unconsciously in your existence, so that a match is found. Okay, when you see a person for the first time, it's cognizance. Okay, it's that person. If they're, especially if you're gonna have to deal with them several other times, that person, like any other person you see in your subconscious mind, they are put in this library, and the next time you see, even if you are not gonna speak with them, or even if you don't even need to speak with them, your subconscious mind will recognize each and every one being that you have seen, because that is the black box of your existence. The subconscious mind simply registers everything, it doesn't miss any detail. So all these being said, the mind simply doesn't miss anything. However, the conscious mind, in order to normally exist, the subconscious mind weeds out around 99% of, well, actually, the conscious mind weeds out 99%, it is said, of the information we are receiving. And mainly what we are receiving based on our beliefs and based on our vibration. Okay, this is why it is said that your vibration creates your reality. Okay, why am I saying this? Okay, your vibration is not basically fully creating your reality, but your beliefs and your thoughts kind of do. Why I'm saying this is there are some specific neurons, okay, a specific type of neurons in your mind whose purpose is to constantly recognize. Okay, so it's no longer cognizance, it's recognizance. Okay, and these neurons purpose is to recognize things and, well, simply sort them based on your beliefs. Okay, you have to understand that there is a part within you that is even that will guard your beliefs with such ferocity, it will even make you capable of dying for those beliefs. Okay, that's how strong that aspect of yourself is. Okay, now this is what scientists may call the Whew. This is what scientists may call the intellect. Okay, now this intellect is a part of yourself whose purpose is to simply preserve what you have acquired, and therefore it's capable of even dying to preserve this. Okay, now a belief is nothing else than accepting something without a necessity for proof. So be careful what you believe, because these things may end up actually being more important than your life, more important than even creation itself and the god and gods that people may end up believing in. Because, as I said, this intellect of yours will simply seek to preserve these, and it's even ready to die for. That is why you will meet a lot of people who simply live unconsciously. They have a few ideas that they keep to. Um, like they keep secluded in themselves, and they would even die for those. Right? You simply can't argue with those people because they have that little bug in their mind that's according to which if they give up their current belief, it's like they're gonna die. Okay, this is how powerful this aspect of humans actually is. Okay, so when recognizance occurs, what it means is that a part of yourself has acknowledged something which has already existed, okay, which has been already put into that library. Okay, a match was found with a visual, a sound, or whatever situation that happened. Okay, don't forget, everything in your existence is simply recorded. Okay, and as it is recorded, it's simply put again and again into your let's say into your conscious mind where needed. Okay, especially if the person is conscious enough. Okay, and these are put back into your existence to show that, hey, this thing is a match, this thing is a match, okay, this thing is a match. And well, there are several ways in which your body may actually present this recognizance. Okay, through your gut feelings, through your intuition. Now, intuition is another part of yourself. Okay, and intuition is a part of yourself that simply works on let's say a little bypass. Okay, now intuition would mean you understanding something, okay, by bypassing your logics. Okay, that is why to some people their intuition may sound like it is so-called illogical. Okay, because the logical part of the mind kind of, it's that guilty part. Okay, it's the part that is guilty of always delaying things, because when you want to take something into account, whether logical or not, you'll always spend a lot of time thinking of all the possibilities and the such, and how it can be further interpreted. But don't forget, interpretation is mainly done on beliefs. Okay, beliefs can be very strong, so therefore people may have a very strong feeling that those beliefs are real. But don't forget, what a belief only means is something accepted without a necessity for proof. Okay, many people believe in things nowadays, but they don't simply question those. When you question a belief, it's usually easy to dispel it logically, but it depends on how attached you are to it. Okay, now when you simply recognize or recognize something, um, the point is that there will be another aspect of the mind. Okay, and this aspect of the mind, once a match is found, it will trigger a certain emotion. Now every time you remember something, so therefore cognizance is used, every time you remember something, most likely you'll also remember it with an emotional attachment or a mental attachment. Okay, let's say a judgmental aspect. Okay, because we have to kind of understand we are guilty in a way of having created this society as a highly judgmental society, especially in the West. There is so much nuisance, okay, with this, and that's one of the reasons why so many people are suffering, because so much accent has been put on the brain and on the mental part of the mind. Okay, the physical part of the mind, which is the brain. Okay, your knowledge and the such. Many people believe, they get some ideas, they end up with certain beliefs, and they believe that's it. It's kind of a bad thing to a certain extent, because nowadays many people believe that the first thought that comes to their mind is a big reality. Many might think that it's a word from God himself or themselves, depending on how many, depending on their religious allegiance. And this is actually a very problematic thing because, well, from my standpoint, it's almost psychiatric. Okay, you believe in something, it might not necessarily be true, but you're making it true to yourself. You're actually imprisoning yourself, and worse than that, you're even enjoying it to a certain extent. And many people end up embracing this pain as their comfort zone. And these people, usually narcissistic people and some sorts of sociopaths, these people end up loving to also inflict pain on others because it's much more beautiful when you see other people also suffering. When other people suffer as well, it brings pleasure to some because they're no longer the only ones who suffer. So this part that triggers emotions, okay, this is a part that kind of layers your emotions because it is a psychological principle that every time you remember something, you remember the last time you thought of that, okay? So basically, every time you remember something, if you react to it, and usually people react unconsciously, okay, you will simply improve that even more. Okay, someone said something bad about you, you're gonna make that sound even worse and worse towards you when you simply don't realize that the problem has always been with you. Okay, because you are accepting something which in the first place is not yours. Okay, some people are pissed because of themselves. They have a lot of problems in their life, and you happen to be the person at the unfit moment, right? The unfit person at the unfit moment, right? The unlucky person at the unlucky moment, let's say. And well, they simply go on, you know blowing all their load on you because, well, let's say they blow their stack, right? They go mad or whatever, and you're gonna feel bad because you're gonna accept that, okay? If you're not aware and conscious of yourself, okay, which kind of they are the same thing, because when you are aware of things, okay, you know that simply other people's problems are not your own unless you simply created them, okay? If you haven't created those people's problems, mainly if you don't know those people, you still can influence them or impact them to a certain extent, especially if you are in decisive positions of a company or society. But if you know that you haven't influenced those people, you haven't created those problems in their life, well, that is basically it, okay? You have to understand this, and once you understand this, you know that, hey, those people's problems ain't have anything to do with me, okay? One very deep thing of this universe is that you don't owe anyone anything, and anyone doesn't owe you anything, well, unless you actually end up making such uh, binds in between you and other people, okay? So when something is recognized, okay, so recognizance has been triggered, okay, it's also gonna take into account your emotional and mental attachments, okay, all the judgments you have passed, all the emotional outbursts or reactions you may have had, and well, especially if they are unconscious, there are gonna be a lot of it, because if you live unconscious, you're constantly gonna torture yourself with the past and whatever someone told you. In some situations, some people might live in the so-called future, which doesn't exist because the future is represented by simple imagination. Everything you're thinking of about the future is nothing else than imagination. That is why it's triggering a lot of fear. False evidence appearing real. That is why it's triggering a lot of worry, okay? Worry can only exist regarding to the future because worry is a powerful attractor, just like fear, okay? And um, grief and agony belong somewhat to the past because they are regarding the past, okay? Events that you wish happened somewhat, you know, in different, well, ended up in different premises, ended up in different ways. We cannot simply control everything that happens, but the only thing we can control, however, is how we react to things and how we handle ourselves emotionally, mentally, and energetically, yes, spiritually, and well, these being said, okay, and psychologically, let's not forget. And this being said, okay, this is basically what responsibility is, how you handle yourself fully, okay? The more capable you become towards this, the more knowledgeable you become of the fact that basically your life is your making. Taking responsibility of your situations, even your worst situations, is actually the best thing, because if you leave things unattended, they won't become any way better, okay? There are very slight chances in this. Now, these emotions will play heavily on you because, um, well, these will simply play heavily on you. And as they play heavily on you, well, it's gonna be a problem. Because if you don't learn how to control them in a responsible way, they're gonna screw you over again and again, because you're simply gonna live life in the past again and again, okay? It's gonna be a loop which wants itself to be freed, but you simply prefer living in that pain because you're taking it as your comfort zone, okay? Now, the last part of the mind is basically your responsibility. Cognizance, recognizance, and the part which triggers emotions, these happen too fast for you to simply react to. And the fourth part would be this responsibility, okay? This ability, this reaction, okay? Because everything that happens in your life, you will want to react to it, okay? In many situations, you have to understand that it is much wiser not to react, okay? It is much wiser not to react to things, and well, it is wiser at times to simply, hold your ground in other ways, okay? Not respond to other people's assaults, other people's arguments and the such, because many people might just want to be, I don't know, energy vampires and the such, okay? So this is actually what conscious being means. Everything that you do in a very responsible way, in a very aware way, okay? In which you know what you're doing will impact certain things, will have a certain outcome. Sure, it might not happen like that, but at least taking responsibility in your life is the best way to go towards having a happy and fulfilled life, because everything in your life is only your responsibility. Not your angels, not God's responsibility, not your family, not anyone's, okay? Because just look in your life, or at least in the life of your friends and many others, okay? So many people believe it's the responsibility of society to save them, it's the responsibility of their parents to do whatever they can. All of these things are limited in your life and should be kept to a limited level, because, well, if you allow other people to handle your existence, you're most likely gonna end up screwed, okay? You should be the only one who knows how to control your existence in a much better way, okay? So all this being said, I want to wrap this video up in here. I'm gonna, discuss on such topics at later times as well. Stay safe, stay blessed, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. You're loved and appreciated. You're more than good enough. Ferenc on board, signing out.